So, my dudeskies, we got us a double shifting guide on MX Simulator. So, this is a bit of a different kind of guide here. It's kind of, you guys know I love coming in here and making these videos and helping you guys out and doing as much as I can. That's why I do the training other people's guide videos. That's why I do the standard guide videos. That is one of my most favorite things to do is try to pass on some of the knowledge I've gained from this game. And this is certainly, I would call, more of like a going from amateur to pro kind of guide, right? Because it really applies to when you start hitting bigger quad lines and stuff like that. I think that's really where it comes together. But JLV kind of spilt the beans on this puppy on the forums there a little while back, talking about the double shifting, right? And throughout MX Simulator's history, there's been a couple little, not like full-blown exploits, but little trick ways, little things you can do to kind of help you out a little bit. But just to preface this video a little bit, even if you fully learn this whole like double shifting technique, this does not mean you're automatically going to be James Stewart and a half in a day or anything like that. There's nothing on MX Simulator that is going to make you James Stewart and a half in a day. There's nothing that's going to do that. And a lot of you guys get kind of confused on that and think that there is that one little trick thing or that one little special thing that's going to make you really, really good at the game. And that's really not how MX Simulator works. It's more of a combination of a lot of little tricks and techniques and ways of doing things and comfortability and putting all those things together that allows you to then become that super fast rider, and then obviously putting in just ridiculous amounts of time into it where it's all mind muscle memory, right? And it all also depends on your gearing when it comes to this little double shifting trick. And like I'm saying, I don't even think it's really a full-blown exploit. It's not like a whip glitch on reflex or something like that where it will literally boost you forward. It's not so much like that on on MX Simulator in that sense. I definitely think it could be seen as just a normal thing, because even in real life, a lot of times right before a jump face, you're gonna kind of double shift to get it to where, not like double shift instantly, which you can do that a lot easier on MX Sim, but you're gonna shift a lot quicker simply because of you're trying to like get to that next gear, and it's almost going to create like when you double shift, in a sense, it's going to create a little bit of a torque boost right at the face of a jump. So it's going to kind of give you a little, just a ever so little squirt NOS boost right on the face of stuff. And now that I go back and watch myself kind of ride on some of these tracks, I definitely do that. Like I will be in I'll be in like third gear, right? And I will shift. It seems like I'm always shifting right at the face of a jump. And like I'm saying, I don't know, everybody has a different gearing. Everybody has a different way of playing the game. There's some people, they keep it in one gear throughout the whole corner and up the jump face. There's some fast pros that do that. And literally, there's fast pros that stay in third gear over the whole whoop section and never shift. And I'm like fifth gear tapped out in the whoop section. You know what I'm saying? So there's what I'm trying to get at is there's all different kind of techniques. There's all different kind of things. I don't know what really is behind the whole double shifting. I don't know what it is, but I just wanted to come in here and explain that there is definitely something to it, especially if you are a shifter on MX Simulator. It can definitely help you with hitting bigger lines and stuff like that. It does kind of give you a little bit of a momentum torquey type boost. Like I'm saying, it's not insane. It's not like a massive, oh my god, this needs to be patched instantly. It's not really like that. It's just more of you're kind of playing with the gears, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like with MX Simulator, you can shift a lot quicker than you would be able to in real life, right? So in real life, you actually have to, shift with your foot. But with MX Simulator, it doesn't really have that full-blown simulated gearbox like you kind of saw with MX Bikes. So it's got more of like, you can go from first to fifth gear and back down to first, quicker than you can say Bob's your uncle, and it's going to work right. It's going to like work decently when you're doing that. I mean, you know me. I'm like a super shifter in this game, and that's just kind of the way I've always played this game. That's how I kind of grew up playing the game, was shifting a lot. And you also see like Hunter Root doing this as well. He'll be in fifth gear over a fucking rhythm section. You see Tyson Fresquez using this technique as well. And I think over the years with the dynos changing, it's changed a little bit. on top of that, on top of everything else. But yeah, I mean, with me personally, I think it's one of those things where the more you shift, right? So the more acceleration of a gearing that you have, right? The shorter the gears that you have, it's going to be about twice as hard to like get around a track and control the bike and do all that. It's going to be about twice as hard to do it because obviously you're having to sit there and worry about shifting and perfect times and stuff like that. But I think you have a lot more control over the bike. You can do a lot more. Whereas like I think there's certain gearings where they might like kind of automatically carry you through a corner a lot better, like momentum wise, and you're not sitting there running out of gear. A lot of times I'll shift down too quick and I'm running out of speed. Like I'm not carrying all that speed into corners and stuff. And, that's a big aspect to it. I'll get to the actual guide here in a second. I promise, guys. I'm going to go back through some of this footage, kind of slow it down and talk about it more. But I'm just trying to get through this whole gearing thing, this whole like shifting thing real quick. Basically, I think you have a lot more control because when you have like a more acceleration style gearing, even though it's going to be a lot harder to control and get used to, you have more control because you can like come out of a corner, and if let's just say you need that ever little bit more RPM in an area for whatever reason. Well, all you got to do is shift a gear, you know? Whereas if you have more of that, longer gear, top speed gearing, you may not really have a proper gear for that or a proper range for that. You may just have to keep it in second, and it may not have the RPMs that you need. But if you have a shorter gear, more acceleration gearing, you have all the gear range that you need. But the only place that's going to bite you in the ass is when you have more top speed style tracks. That will hurt you a little bit on that because, like I said before, you're not going to be carrying your speed as much because you're going to be shifting down. And it's going to be like kind of revving the bike out, you know. But that's just one thing I've always been more of a shifting kind of guy, and and you got to be real when you have like a shorter gearing like that. You got to be real conscious of coming into corners and being in second and third instead of going all the way down to first and then back up. But if you have a really tight Supercross bowl corner, you can go all the way back down to first and keep it in that super sweet RPM spot. And that can really allow you to do a lot. So I'm just saying, some of you guys that don't really have, that like super shifting gearing type vibe, you might want to try that out because you really can do a lot with the bike. Yes, it's going to take you a long time to learn and shift quick like that, but if you can do it, you got a lot more play, you got a lot more ability to do different stuff. But okay, let's get into this little double shifting shit. I didn't even really think this was something until I've kind of, saw some forum posts, kind of went back and realized that, oh yeah, I do actually seem to shift like right on jump faces very frequently. Like it's something that I do like often. I mean, you can see right here, right? Like I was in third, shift down to second, and then back up to third. That is so weird. Why would I shift down right there? That doesn't even make any sense. It's like my brain just automatically does it. Shift down to second, then to third, and I did it again. Look at this. I go from third to second off the second jump of the rhythm, which makes no sense at all. And then it's like I go from, check this out. I literally did the double shifting right here without even realizing that I was doing it. Look at this. I go from, and you might not catch this if you don't look at it close, but okay, so let me just back this all up, right? Come around this corner, third right before the jump face, right? Back down to second, back up to third over that jump face, back down to second again, and then back to third again right on this, and then to fourth right at the face. Look at that. So I'm literally like, second, third, back down to second, and then third, fourth, bam, right there on the face right there. So if you look at my actual tack over there, you'll see that, second, third, fourth, boom, jump face. Like I'm saying, your gearing is going to affect this 1,000%, right? And so many other things will affect you being able, like that's pretty gnarly ass quad into that corner right there, but so many other little things are going to affect that, right? Did it again right there, right? If you caught this, came around the corner, jump this, third, back down to second in the air. This is something I just naturally do, right? You can't really force yourself to do this. I've naturally done this over time, didn't even realize I was actually doing this. Second, and then, who would like hit a corner third off the jump face and shift back down in the air? That doesn't make any sense. But this is just what I was automatically doing, boys. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's not like I'm like, coherently like, okay, I'm going to purposely double shift on this jump phase. This is just something I automatically do. It's like my brain has automatically tried to figure out how to get the most momentum and traction and torque out of areas. And this is just what I naturally do. So I don't know. Shift down to second, back to third, fourth. Boom, right on the jump phase, fourth. You know what I'm saying? Did it right there again. So there's certainly something to it. But with MX Simulator, it's not only how you shift, but it's how you lean. There's such a big leaning, seat bouncing aspect to MX Simulator as well. It's how loose your setup is. It's going to allow you to actually float up over jumps. So don't get this idea in your head that, oh my God, if I just start double shifting, I can automatically start going fast in the game. It's not that easy. I hate to break it to some of you guys, but it's not. This is just one little, might help you 5% maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe. If you're already like an amateur, this may help you 5%. Oh, and I love when people act like I do nothing for the motocross community and I'm such a bad guy and all I ever do is rant about games and stuff. No, let's just forget about all those custom tracks. Let's just forget about all these guide videos and giving you guys all this knowledge and not being stingy with my knowledge and trying to help you guys out as much as I can. But no, people still want to paint me out as a bad guy. You gotta love it, dog. You gotta love the world. But either way, so, third, back down to second, third, back down to second. Look at how quick I went back down to second right there, right? Third, I went boop, second, real quick, third, fourth, boom, quad. Then you come around here, second, third, fourth, boom, quad. It's so weird, I just naturally do that. So, but there's a lot of aspects to MX Sim where it's like a game of sort of how you learn how to do it over time and all these little things, and that's really what makes the difference, guys. It's just, and there is such a skill to when you start going. It's one thing to be able to triple into a corner and do like a triple through a rhythm section on a 250, that's one thing. That ain't even that big of a deal. But when you get in that realm of where you're on a 450 and you start getting on some of these harder supercross tracks where you really got to get that crazy momentum to quad certain sections that you pretty much have to quad in the 450 class, it's like a whole, it's going to take you time, dude. There is no quick trick. It's going to take you time learning how to lean, learning how to get on the gas, learning how to get that supercross momentum where you've got enough speed, but you also land down a transition good enough to where you kind of squirt out of a jump face, You've got to learn all these little aspects that are really unteachable. They're more of it's a feel kind of thing. You have to get in there and feel it and learn it and do it repetitively thousands and thousands of times before you can really get it down. And that's what separates you from being just a simple little 250 guy to a 450 quad master, right? That's really the separation there. 450 class ain't no joke, dog. You can be, and once you get into the 450 class and realize how hard it is to hit hard quad lines and stuff consistently, you start to learn how the 250 class and having, the 250 class, it's split between east and west on supercross. So you've got basically half the competition because half of your competition's on the other coast. Well, the 450 class, it's all the 450 guys in there. So, and you're forced to hit basically the biggest possible line on whatever track it is. Where on the 250, a lot of times you're hitting way smaller of a rhythm, so it doesn't take nowhere near the jumping skill, nowhere near the getting the momentum out of the corner and getting the speed out of the corner. Yes, you do have to have it a little bit on a 250 because obviously it's slower, but 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be quadding anything on a 250 on most supercross tracks. You're just not going to do it. So, either way, here's another example. I come around this corner, third, second, then third, fourth, boom, quad. That is so weird. I did not even realize that I was actually doing that. I was just naturally doing it, boys. I don't know any other way to even explain it, but I literally do that off of pretty much every quad where I jump like a triple and then a quad out. That's pretty much exactly what I do. I'm third, second in the air, third on the face, right? So it's third right on the face of this. So I'm basically double shifting right here. You know what I mean? I'm going from first, second, third, boom, right on the face. Then it's back down to second, and then it's third, fourth, right on the face. And so there's definitely there's something to it, as far as momentum, swing, and torque swing and stuff like that, because like I'm saying, with MX Simulator not really having that super simulated gearbox, you can get away with boom boom shifting and keeping what you're doing is basically you've got enough of it's not really that it needs to be changed. I don't really feel like it needs to be changed. I think it's fine. This is not something I feel like is super unrealistic, change it, JLV. It's not really like that. This is more of what you're basically doing is you're having a very short gear acceleration gearing, and what you're doing is you're shifting quick enough to where it's like getting in that bottom end torque of the power of that certain gear. You know what I mean? So it's like you're using the torque of it more than the just flat out high RPM aspect of it. But some areas you want that high RPM aspect. So, but I mean, I don't feel like this is unrealistic. I mean, I think it's decent, but would a rider literally be able to do this in real life? Yeah, it'd be pretty difficult to shift this much over jumps and stuff, but I don't think it's out of the ballpark of being realistic. Obviously, it is a little bit crazy, but not to that level. But either way, I just want to kind of go over this little thing that I've learned and kind of seen that I was doing. Some of you guys that have watched some of my gameplay may not have even realized I was really doing this, but a lot of people know my style on the bike and the way I ride in this game, and the fifth gear tapped over. I'm probably the only guy that goes over the whoop section fifth gear. Most people get it in second and third and just hold it wide open and it keeps it real steady, but you're not getting that wicked James Stewart speed through a whoop section, but it's more inconsistent. That's what I'm trying to get at with the whole the more acceleration gearing. It's going to be more inconsistent. It's going to be harder to be consistent, but I feel like it's got a little bit more you can do with it, a little bit more applications that can be used in areas and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's just, one aspect to it there, boys. But there's a lot to it. There's a lot of different styles in the game. Some people, they will never be able to ride with a short gearing, acceleration gearing on MX Sim. They'll never be able to do it. It's just not their style. Some people like to kind of have more of that MXGP rider flow through a corner and that whole kind of thing. And it does wear you out shifting a lot, It really does. And like I'm saying, you get a lot more, I feel like you get a lot more engine braking when you're, it's not just engine braking, but it's also having such a short gear, and that when you're trying to slow down into a corner, like I was saying, it definitely, you'll notice it there for sure. When you get the shorter gears, you won't be carrying speed as good. So you really got to be good at shifting right at the perfect time and being able to carry and be in second through corners, maybe even third through corners. Here's another little instance right here. Pretty hard triple in area. Not that it's big, but it's hard to get the speed out of this tight of a corner. But basically, I go first, second, third, literally right on the lip. You know what I mean? It's from the corner, first, second, third, boom, back down to first. Holy shit. I went all the way back down to first, then second, third, fourth. That is insane shifting right there. You are fucking hitting the shifter right there, dog. Now, I will say that doing this right here probably would never happen in real life. I don't know anybody that could come through a corner, go first, second, third, back down to third, second, first, and then back up to first, second, third, fourth in one rhythm. It's pretty insane being able to do that. But, that's the whole double shifting kind of mechanic. You keep it in that kind of that meaty torque of the gear, you know what I mean? But sometimes you can get in that meaty torque of that gear if you just have a longer gearing and you don't even have to shift. That's what I'm getting at, is it just all depends. Everything depends on how you got it set up, what you're doing with it. So just take this all with a grain of salt. I'm just saying this is how I do it, That's all I can really say at the end of the day. That's how I'm able to hit some of these really crazy lines and stuff like this. I wouldn't be able to do it if I wasn't double shifting unless I went to a different gearing, right? With my current gearing, if I came through this corner, right, and I just went to second, and just tried to jump this in second, there's no way I would be able to jump up over that because it wouldn't have the torque pull to do it. It'd kind of be like being on a two-stroke or something, Or if I came into this corner just in third and I never shifted from first to third, it would be too much in the torquey bottom end of the power. It wouldn't have enough zing to it, It's like you get the zing of the RPM with first and second, and then you like kind of get into third, and then it's just in the meat, right? So it kind of like you get the zing of the RPM, and then you get the bottom end torque, and then you go back to that zing power right at the kind of the bottom of the transition. Then you shift again to get back in the bottom meat of the torque again. So it's like it's such a complex little system here, and it's just something I naturally do. But either way, just wanted to get in here and kind of talk about this, kind of point it out. Don't think it needs to be changed. I think it's just fine. Like I said, I think with MX Simulator, there's certain aspects. I don't really feel like this game needs that like more of a realistic gearbox, because then it's going to totally change the game. I mean, I just don't think it needs it. I'm a big advocate of make it as realistic as you can, but it gets to a point where the game doesn't even feel like a game anymore. You know what I mean? You get it like so realistic, and it's like, well, shit. Like, you can't even hardly enjoy the game. And MX Simulator was almost to that point as it is anyways with how realistic it is, but it still keeps some of those gameplay elements, like being able to shift without having to worry about a freaking gearbox and like not being able to shift. It'd be like if you could, bend your shifter and then can't shift. It's like, that's going a little far, or like the bike has a little sputter in the power just randomly because you revved it too hard on the jump before. It gets like too extreme, in my opinion, on certain aspects of it, and then it's not even really a game anymore. You take it like too far, but either way, that's just my own opinion. I think the gearing feels fine on MX Sim. I don't think it needs to be any more simulated, and even like with MX bikes, it having more of that simulated gearing, I still don't think that was like perfect simulated gearing, It just felt a little bit different. Like you couldn't just shift from first to third out of a corner on MX bikes, or it would just kind of like not shift, or it would feel kind of weird up a jump face. So, but either way, dudes, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Don't forget, you can go follow me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Steam, all that kind of stuff is Spencer Turley, no space, no capital, and I'll add you back. So either way, dudes, later.